Both the Eagles and the Saints are coming off two shocking games in week 2, but for the exact opposite reason. Eagles blew the game against the Atlanta Falcons on Monday Night Football in absolutely crazy fashion as well. And the Saints absolutely blew out the Dallas Cowboys at AT&T Stadium in week 2. And two totally different performances as well. We're going to talk about that here in a second and how the two teams have done so far this season. And then we're going to break down the game and the matchups within the game that you need to watch and wrap up with our predictions at the very end of the video. But before we get into that, we want to give a huge shout out to all the new subscribers to the Tracy Take that helped us reach our goal of 100 new subscribers during our week 2 prediction video series. Not only did we hit the 100 new subs, we actually well exceeded 200 new subs last week. So thank you to everybody. And I say this week for week 3 in our prediction video series, let's not get greedy. Let's just get another 100 if possible. So any help is greatly appreciated. So if you have not already, go ahead, hit that subscribe button, like this video, and leave a comment. Let us know who you think is going to win this game and why. And want to start off actually with the Saints here, because if you're watching this channel a lot, you know I'm a Falcons fan. And so I really want to say it is scary to me how freaking good this offense looks against the Dallas Cowboys defense. Huge shout outs to everybody that commented on our video, told us that we were wrong, because you were right. Because I'm looking at this now. We were watching the game because we're on vacation right now in Hilton Head, and I couldn't think of a more perfect first half of an offense that I can think of in a long time. I mean, so first drive, 7 plays, 80 yards. Second drive, 1 play, 70 yards. So that's pretty nice. Third drive, 4 plays, 70 yards. Fourth drive, 11 plays, 70 yards. Final drive of the first half, 3 plays, 20 yards. And it was just perfectly money. You were able to beat them short, able to beat them long, dump off passes, medium range passes. Haven't seen the Saints offense look this good in an extremely long time. It'd be very easy for us to say that like the Cowboys maybe just had an off game, but I don't think that's the case. I think the Saints just absolutely blew them out of the water.
Yeah, no, I think if the Cowboys defense just had a bad day, it would have been like they gave up a few big plays here or there, but then like still like largely were able to like keep the game in check. They beat the Cowboys in all 3 phases of the game for 60 minutes. Like it was you don't see that a lot in the NFL. And like me being a Patriots fan, the Patriots used to do that to like some of the worst teams in the league. Like when the Bills were really bad and picking top 5 perennially, like that is when you would see those types of games. And then like the Bills did it to the Patriots in the playoffs when the Mac Jones year, Mac Jones rookie year, like in 2021. So like it's very rare that you see these types of wins and losses, but they made Dallas look like a college team playing in the NFL. It was really bad.
Well, and that's the thing then too, on the defensive side of the ball, it made them look like a high school team. But sorry, on the offensive side of the ball, they made that Cowboys defense look like a high school team. Defensively, though, the Cowboys were able to move the ball. They kicked, I think, 3 field goals in the first half. Yeah, 1, 2, 3. Sorry, 3 field goals in the first half, but all of them were in the shorter range. So Dallas was able to move the ball, but when it came kind of to crunch time near around the red zone, that's when they really started to kind of tighten up that defense, and Dallas just couldn't score as well. So it was a great all-around game for this team. And when I look at the Eagles too as well, they were without A.J. Brown against the Atlanta Falcons in their week 2 matchup, which I think was probably the biggest reason why Atlanta was able to stay in the game, to be completely honest, even though we actually like snuck out of there with win somehow, some way. But throughout the game, though, Jalen Hurts had a lot of time in the pocket, but no one really to throw to. So he had a lot of rushing yards. And I think not having A.J. Brown over these next couple of weeks with a hamstring injury is going to be huge for this team. How do they combat this? It's going to be a heavy dose of Saquon Barkley, and hopefully Devontae Smith and Jahan Dotson and company can maybe play a little bit better during this team. And so what do you think kind of the Eagles in this week 2 matchup before we kind of start breaking down this week 3 game?
Yeah, I thought for a large portion of the game, they were kind of able to control the pace of it, run the ball, Saquon Barkley, get first downs and on like convert third downs. And defensively, I thought they were able to control kind of what the offense was able to do, especially like between the 20s and then at least hold to a field goal in the red zone. And then in the second half, converting on 2 touchdowns, one in like less than 60 seconds as the clock dwindled down. Just inexcusable. I like, just a side note. I hate when defensive coaches are like, all right, well, we can't give up the big play, so we're going to put our safeties 25 yards away from the line of scrimmage and give up those like deep out routes. And it's like
I love it. I love it
Darnell
when
Mooney
they do
caught
that.
2 of those, and it's
Yeah.
like if those safeties were just 10 yards more up, they wouldn't, like, they're still not going to get beat deep, but they run that like super high shell coverage. So that one is on Vic Fangio in my opinion. But
Well, there's a lot of factors that
yeah,
that go into that. I mean, Nick Sirianni, I think, has some blame as well because some
yeah,
questionable calls to go for it on fourth down early on in the game where you didn't get 3 points when you would have loved to have 3 points.
yeah. At the
When
end,
when you're sitting there at the end, throwing the ball on third down. I
yeah,
mean, 99% of the time, Saquon's going to catch
but
that ball, but it's that 1% of the time. So it's very easy to be nitpicky, on
yeah,
that. But I also think too, strategically in that situation, run the ball. You might get the first down anyways, but if you don't, at least another 40 seconds are going to come off the clock.
yeah,
And so instead of now, the Falcons then had an extra 99 seconds. Sorry, it was not. Yeah, they had 99 seconds of game time
yeah,
left to move down, not an extra
yeah.
99. And so
But
it,
I still think coming into that game with down AJ Brown, we saw what they looked like in week 1. They made a lot of mistakes in week 1 and were still able to come away with the win just because they were still so talented on offense that they could overcome those mistakes. And I think
yeah,
that may just be the Philadelphia Eagles identity. Is like, yeah, they're going to make some mistakes, but they're going to make more plays than mistakes.
yeah. So
And
I I I I think it's kind of with this now. Let's now kind of translate this then over to the week 3 matchup. But before we do that, if you do like to put a couple bucks down on Saints or Eagles games, go check out the link in the description box. BetUS has a bunch of great promotions going on right now for first time players here. So you can bet on this game, all the other week 3 games, or any other game throughout the season as well. With this one, I'm very curious to see what the odds are going to be come game time. I would think the Saints might actually be slight favorites just because of one, how this game ended, too, but also kind of how the Eagles' offense looked. They definitely were missing AJ Brown, and from reports I was reading during the game, it looks like he's going to be out for a couple of weeks just with his hamstring injury. And kind of with that too, it makes me think as well. The Saints were obviously watching what happened in that second half with this Kirk Cousins led offense, which admittedly, as a Falcons fan, definitely still needs some development and nowhere near, I think, as effective players yet as the cohesion as what we've seen with the Saints receiving room over these first couple of weeks. And also then some going back to last year as well, some of the just all these players have kind of now been together for over a season. And then within that Clint Kubiak offense, though, I saw the stat during the game. I think Derek Carr had touchdown on or scored on the first 15 Derek Carr drives, and they might have actually even been touchdowns. I can't remember off the top of my head of what they showed on the screen during the game, but still they scored. I'm pretty sure it was touchdowns actually. Either way, it's still highly impressive. I think just how effective the Saints offense has been, and how is Vic Fangio and this defense going to scheme up a system to cover all aspects of the field? Because as we saw against Dallas, Rashid Shaheed can absolutely beat them deep. Chris Olave can beat them in the middle, and there's still other guys like Jawan Johnson that can beat them in the middle. And Alvin Kamara can run between the tackles, but also too, as we saw on Sunday against the Cowboys, how effective those screen passes are and how deadly he can be when he gets into open space. So, how are the Eagles going to be able to cover on all layers of the field? And at the same time, too, if they get into a track meet, how are they going to keep scoring without AJ Brown?
yeah, I mean, that to me, I think is going to be the big question coming into this. Is I think the Saints are going to want to turn this into a track meet and kind of run the score up to maybe. And I think they'll take bigger risks on defense to try to put their offense in good situations that the Eagles could take advantage of. But this Saints offense through the first couple of weeks, they haven't really had any injuries. Knock on wood. And for me, like, they're the more explosive offense, especially without AJ Brown in this matchup. So let's kind of just get into predictions here, and I'll start it off. I'm going with the Saints. I saw some things that I liked from Philadelphia in this week 2 matchup and in week 1, but without AJ Brown, I think they're going to struggle to keep pace with the Saints offense. The Saints offensive line looked good against this Dallas Cowboys pass rush, which is one of the best in the league also. And Philadelphia has a really good pass rush in a different way. Theirs is more interior, where like with Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis, and I know they have Bryce Huff and Josh Sweat and whatnot. But like Mika Parsons and DeMarcus Lawrence are two really good edge rushers. So I think they're going to be able to handle the defensive front of the Eagles, and I think they're going to be able to take advantage on the back end with some of these wide receivers and playmakers that they have.
I'm also going to go with the Saints as well.
I didn't think I'd be making that pick also before the season.
So I was actually thinking about that as well. So during the game, I was actually even thinking that it's like when the AJ Brown being gone. But I was thinking about this too, actually after yesterday's Saints game, is that I was going to go with the Saints as well, as much as it pains me to say this, but I'm being fully objective about it. But Saints team looks good. It looks scary, which scares me because we're going to have to play y'all twice. But maybe it'll feel that much better when we do beat you guys during the season, because I think it's going to be some fun matchups here. But you guys are clicking on all cylinders now. The biggest thing to me, not having AJ Brown, I think is going to affect this team because it makes them. It's going to make them have to really control the clock and control the game as well. Because I just have a feeling that the Eagles secondary is still young and it's improving, but I have a feeling they're just going to make a couple more mistakes as well as they're growing and learning. And the Saints offense in this receiving room, Derek Carr, are clicking on all cylinders as well. So I'm going to have the Saints win this one here. I think it's going to be close in the beginning, something similar to what we saw tonight. But I actually think that the Saints are going to pull away come in the second quarter, early third quarter, and win by 2 touchdowns, 31-17.
Okay. I was going to say 34-21
Nice.
Was going to be my final score. I just think the Saints are going to be able to, I think, get out to a lead and kind of put Philadelphia in a bad spot, and then just kind of keep that distance throughout the rest of the game. So we're both taking the Saints. Let's go ahead and wrap this one up here. If you guys have not already, please go ahead and like and subscribe. Leave a comment down below on who you think is going to come out ahead in this matchup. Will it be the Philadelphia Eagles? Will it be the New Orleans Saints? And that will see you guys next time.